How's it going, everyone? Jamesrise here with my first podcast ever, Energy Rising. Today, my guest is Mallory Bales, or Mallory.Bales, that you can find her on Instagram. Yoga instructor, spiritual, great energy person. Check her out for sure. Like I said, her Instagram is Mallory.Bales. And Naked Essence podcast coming soon.
Yes.
Maybe. We're looking forward to that. Today we're just going to talk about some energies. We were talking beforehand. We probably should have been podcasting it, but we were just getting to know each other. First time seeing her. Awesome energies already. So we'll just go off that. Let's talk about energies within people, within ourselves, and we'll just flow from that.
Sweet.
I got a couple ideas if we stop talking about that, if we need an idea to boost us. But energies.
Allow the energy of the universe to flow through us. And thank you so much again. I'm so honored to be able to collaborate and create some magic together today and bring forth inspiration in whoever's day that is able to listen to this podcast.
Heck yeah. Hold on one second. Mallory, awesome person. From we were just talking about some things about energies and just people in general and our well-beings as well. Is there anything that you've been through recently where energy shifted? If you had to cut someone out of your life, or maybe you opened doors to maybe new people in your life with more positive energies, have you experienced that?
Yeah, definitely. So I was just sharing with you how I was in Nepal, and I believe so much in, there's a saying that we are the 5 people we surround ourselves with the most. And I think that we are a little bit more than those 5 people, but I do strongly believe that who we are spending our time with and whose energy we are absorbing is how we show up in a essence too. And I was just in Nepal for 4 months, and as I was sharing, it was very difficult because the universe brought together a group of humans that perfectly triggered the wounds that needed to be shown so that there could be massive healing. And one thing that I loved about this group, and this was a little bit of a trigger beyond some of the other things, but they were all so lighthearted. And I'm definitely lighthearted, but I can get really serious too. But their energy, their lightheartedness, at first it was really challenging to be around when I was in my serious moods, because I would compare myself and I would go into lack. What's wrong with me? Instead of just being inspired and celebrating their qualities. And I got to a place where I started to just soften, and they inspired me to be more lighthearted, and their energies completely transformed me. And something I believe so strongly in is that we are able to absorb other people's positive qualities, or we're able to absorb negative qualities. And instead of looking at lack in ourselves, realizing that even when we call in the qualities of Buddha or Christ or Mary Magdalene or these enlightened beings, those qualities exist within ourselves. And anytime that I'm feeling low vibrations, I just think of these enlightened masters or my favorite spiritual teachers or my friends that portray the qualities, the energies that I wish to embody. And I sit there and just feel them in my body somatically, and it automatically uplifts me and helps me remember my most authentic self and my highest virtues. Nice. So I don't know if that kind of answers the question, but
that's awesome. How are their energies? Were there light days or there heavy days? Because for me personally, if a person's energetic or a person I know has a positive energy, there's a different feel. I'm sure you felt that too. And if a person comes in negative, they're coming oh, I hate today. Oh, you could feel that heaviness from them. That's what I've experienced from people, and then that kind of negativity sucks the energy out of me. I'm trying to be this person that's motivating, positive, but this person has this dark heavy energy, and I'm very like, I feel like I'm very in tune with energies. Like I could jive well and be my best when there's a lot of positive energies around me, instead of me just being like that beacon of positivity and try to like give my all to like help like negative energies. But I know there's balance. And I know like if I can make an impact from a person that had a bad day or they came with like negative energy that they usually don't carry, I think it's essential. But did you experience any of that heaviness? Did you experience any like, or was it more like on a light, more positive flow? How was that for you with these? Because you're with like, I can't imagine being around like, that's like having 3 roommates.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. And that we spent 24/7 with, basically, like sleeping in the same rooms, doing all the same activities, and there was light qualities and there was dark, because we all have shadows, and we all have light. Yeah, I think it's essential to remember, especially if you're an empath or a highly sensitive person, which I am.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Yeah, I need to take care of my energetic boundaries. I need time to recharge so I can come back to myself, because I'm like a sponge for other people's energies.
I get that for sure too.
You know, you brought up like if someone has a really dense energy, one of my favorite mantras is bless them, change me. And remembering that I can show up and I can bring light into someone's life. I can ask the universe how I can best serve them. I can pray for them and wish for their highest good and for their highest happiness. That was one of the greatest teachings I received in Nepal. I studied Tibetan Buddhism and worked with a lot of lamas and monks and nuns, and one of the main essences of Buddhism is to constantly wish for other people's happiness. But then I also think that there's a skill for discernment with knowing that this person is just bringing me down. I can wish for their happiness. I can do loving kindness meditations for them and see them in their highest light. But I also need to take care of my energy, because if they're weighing me down, then I'm not able to best serve so many other people. So it's that skillful discernment, listening to intuition. If someone is really
stuck in their ways,
energy vampire,
exactly.
eating up your field.
I know. I've experienced that. Sometimes you do your best to help them out, but they're just stuck in a way. All you could do is like show them that there's positivity in the world, and hopefully that will resonate and change, and that light could help them in that dark place, because a lot of people get stuck in dark places.
Definitely.
And I'm a big believer in people taking time to yourself, like you said, recharging. I think that's so key. I'm an empath as well, so like throughout the week, Monday through Saturday, I'm spewing my energy towards people, and I think it's so key for us to find some time for ourselves and for us to root and for us to gain the energy back, so we could be our best every single time that we try to help others, even help ourselves, so we could be at that max potential. So key. That's what I always preach. I always preach happiness within ourselves. If we're not happy, find it, and however long that takes, because it's a journey. You're not going to find happiness tomorrow. If we're lucky, maybe. But it could take years. It's just enjoying the ride and experience. And I think it's so key, because we find ourselves in a way, and we see ourselves in a new light, and we really discover who we are as a person. And I think that's, if people don't have that, or people are always constantly around people and they don't really find time for themselves, they don't really get to know who they are internally and spiritually. So recharging, if you're not doing it, do it.
It's a service to the world.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with people, I'm a big believer in people who are like serial daters that like jump from one relationship to another relationship, and they're like scared of the alone phase. I think the alone phase and just being by yourself is so key to finding who you are and really finding your happiness and really finding like loving yourself. Because if you're around somebody, they're just gonna, you get that love.
Yeah.
But it's not really like self-love.
Yeah.
And self-love is what's gonna make yourself happy, and you're gonna bring out the best in that person as well, because you're happy. And if things happen where you guys split, it's not gonna devastate your life.
Yeah. Definitely.
You're just gonna learn from it and push forward. I think that's why it's so key for self-love. And if you're bouncing from relationship to relationship, especially like people who are younger that do that just because they're scared of the alone phase, thrive in it. Totally. Be alone.
There's the quote from Rumi, "Go find yourself so you can find me."
There you go.
I love that, because ultimately the only thing that really creates fullness is love, and it's knowing ourselves, and it's being so full in our soul and in the presence of life that everything else is just like sprinkles on top. But we live in a world that's constantly reaching for the thing out there to fill me up. We think it's going to be the person or the job or the whatever it is, the ice cream that you're about to eat. And all that's like great. Yeah, it's amazing because we are in the human experience. So there's nothing wrong with wanting nice things and, you know, whatever it might be. But it's like the frosting and the sprinkles on top of a foundation that's already so full. Yeah. And I feel like the more time we spend alone and in silence and get to know ourselves, then we can just be so content and so in love with the present moment. We don't need so much to entertain ourselves because there's just like an ineffable, it can't be described, magic of being in the present moment and feeling this gratitude and appreciation for life. And it's just being one with everything that is. And then once you're able to know this embodiment of this appreciation, then everything just becomes so much more alive and better. But it's a endless race to nowhere. It's always striving and never arriving. If we're constantly reaching for the next thing to fill us up. And so, we need to be able to charge ourselves up so that we can actually show up with a genuine heart, and so that we're not constantly, that's so much of why the world's so unhappy, is because we always think the next thing is going to bring us happiness. Like, I'm guilty of that too. I just got a position teaching yoga, and I just moved here a couple weeks ago, and so much is unfolding in my life. I'm like, okay, well, I want to teach yoga at this place and this place. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, be happy that, like, be grateful, sit in like celebration. I don't think we celebrate ourselves enough. Exactly. We beat ourselves up for getting what we don't want, but when we do attract things that are magical, it's like, okay, well, let's attract the next thing, instead of like sitting and actually like, what does it feel like right now to have all these miracles unfolding? And so, the more we can do that, the more happiness and contentness and magic we'll experience in life.
I think everyone's guilty of that. And because I think the world that we live in is constantly like going to the next thing, trying to be the best that you could be, and just keep grinding. I think that grind. Like, what are you going to do next? You got that. What are you going to do next? Like, how are you going to better yourself every single day? That's a good mentality to have. But like you said, you have to celebrate the small steps and how you got there. Like, it didn't take one big leap for you to get there. It took climbing over things, mental journeys. It took, and once we reach that, we should celebrate it. And just like this past year, so much happened, and it's about taking that time to say, be thankful for where you have, and like be excited about what's the next journey that you could overcome. But just sitting in that and saying, wow, last year was a good year, a lot of positive things happened, and just like knowing that the journey is working, and I think it's so key for us to do so, because life is always going to push, like, or parents or friends or like, oh, you got that, so what's next? When are you gonna get the higher position? When are you gonna get more money? When you get more clients? It's just like, people stop attacking each other. I think it's so key for us to push each other up instead of like saying what's next.
Yeah.
What's next? Like if you're able to help somebody, do so. If they're struggling or maybe you're in a good position to help someone else. I made a talk about this. Help somebody. Yeah. If you're in a positive position and you are able to help somebody, do so. Because a lot of people are in need. Yeah. A lot of people are in dark places. Absolutely. And all it takes is one light to really help somebody out. So, yeah, enjoy and relish and bask in the how far have you come, whether it's weight loss, whether it's a job position, whether it's life in general, whether it's mental health. If you're in a better position mentally, praise that. If you're not, you got out of depression, or if you're easing, your depression is getting lessen and lessen, like, praise that. Stop looking like, I just can't wait for it to be over. Like, praise the small steps.
I love that.
I think it's so key.
Yeah, transformation. Like you said, you could snap your fingers and maybe be happy overnight, but I don't know. Yeah. And to me, I love what you said, happiness is a journey. Yeah. Because I don't look at happiness as an emotion. I look at joy as an emotion. Okay, and emotions are impermanent. They're fleeting. Yeah. And suffering comes from attachment. It comes from thinking that we're always going to be in the daisies and rainbows and unicorns. Yeah, we are human. We're suffering beings. Yeah. And that's the nature, the condition of being human, but also what our inherent nature is joy. It's unconditioned love. And that's what we're here to experience and to return back to. And so the more we focus on just having subtle shifts every single day, and just being, again, that comes back to presence and doing whatever we can to cultivate more presence in our life, because transformation is a process, and all that matters is one day at a time that we can be with each moment. And like you were saying, praise the small thing, like, oh wow, I'm thinking of a situation right now when I was in Nepal. I was feeling a lot of darkness that day. I don't remember what happened, but it doesn't matter for the sake anyways. And I was super caught up in my mind. Oh, okay. And
that's a scary place sometimes.
It is. It can be a very scary place. And I walked with my friend over to this lake, and I just felt like I couldn't even connect. When I get vulnerable, I feel very closed off, very disembodied. My throat closes off, where I feel like I can't even communicate at all. And I was in that space where I didn't even know how to connect with her in that moment, because I was in such a profound state of vulnerability. Yeah. So I told her, you know what, keep walking. I need to just sit here. Again, going back to taking time for ourselves. Yeah. I need space, because I don't know what's going on with me right now. I need to sit and talk to my spirit guides. I need to pull out my journal, and I just need to be by myself. Yeah. And so she went off. And I used my tools, and I started to breathe, and then I started to tap. I don't know if anyone's familiar with emotional freedom technique, but it's an amazing healing tool where you go through your body, and there's tons of videos on YouTube where you tap in different acupuncture points. Okay. And you start off with 1 through 10, what am I feeling right now, and how intense is it? So you say that, and usually it's an 8 through 10, maybe it's less. Okay. And then you start just saying, this is what I'm feeling right now, and it's okay. I love and accept myself anyways. Yeah. And then by the end, you go through this process, and then you ask yourself, how am I feeling? And usually it lessens to, for me, sometimes to a 0, sometimes to a 1. And I'm like, what the hell? That was a huge, holy shift. Yeah. But I did EFT that day, and then I sat with my journal and journaled for a while. Nice. And by the end of that 30 minutes, I was a complete different person. It was a full moon, and there was a bunch of chanting and dancing, and I went by myself and was making all these new friends. And by the time I walked back to where we were staying, I was so elevated, so high. Nice. And I really, at the end of the day, I was like, that was the highlight of my day, was feeling like shit, so that I could see how big of a difference it makes when I go off and take time for myself, when I actually use my tools. Like, I'm so grateful that I was feeling that, because now I get to share this story with you all, because that's how we work through things, and that's how we inspire others. It's not about it being perfect all the time. It's using what we can and then sharing our stories. And so like, at the end of the day, I really celebrated that, the fact that I was able to work through that, and that I ended up having a huge energetic shift. So I think it's just really, again, praising all of the moments, the discomfort, because that's our suffering ends up becoming our greatest gift. You were talking about, to be in service. Yeah. It ends up being the way that we're able to help someone else work through their own shit too. So it's celebrating even those moments as well.
Yeah. For sure. Like, we were talking earlier about energies and being that, helping others. I'm, like you guys know, I'm in the service of, I like to motivate. I think that was really my purpose. I thought in high school, this whole, like, manifested in high school. Just one of my coaches really impacted me. Just that belief in somebody could go a long way, especially like your upbringing. Like, how were your parents? How did your parents treat you? How did your father treat you? How did your siblings treat you? If you have one person in your life that really, like, stood out and really believed in you, I think that has such a huge impact on us. This coach, sophomore year, like, really, like, he saw my push in, like, freshman year, and, like, sophomore year is when I got my, like, serious training on. I was running track. And just seeing that potential in somebody, and just believing in someone that they could do their best, and he, like, pushed me to that, and, like, made me want to be the best version of myself that I could be at that time. And that, like, that inspired me to be like, I want to unlock that in people. I want to have that impact in people, because that's what really, like, inspired me. And, like, having that thought in, like, high school, and then, like, being away from it for a couple years through my, like, late teens to my early 20s, and then 24 is when I really, like, evolved into a person that, like, alright, I'm gonna do this because I think it's time. Like, I've been through enough shit. And there's so much more for me to learn, but I want to start and try to help people, because I know that's gonna make me the happiest. Because I love to help inspire people. I love to also be myself in the solitude and work on art. There's that balance where I just want to help, and, like, if I can make someone's day, if I can make someone's life, if I can be that person that really help someone unlock their true potential, or just seeing the person, or just be that belief system in somebody that everyone else says, you can't do it, you can't lose weight, you can't change. Like, if I could be that person that believes in you, I've done my purpose. And there's a couple of clients, and there's a couple of people in my life that, and hopefully more come, where I've been able to help, and I've seen the changes, and I'm so grateful for I'm just honored just to see the process happen. And I think that's the joys in life, and just seeing that, and just, like, being, wow, like, I really helped this person change. And, like, if you're in that position, really soak into that. I don't, like, there's times, and if someone helped you change, thank them. And then, like, if you were the person that you change as well by seeing them change, I think that's why I feel too a lot, and I'm forever grateful to those that I've helped. Those have come and gone. Like, I'm glad I was a big impact in their lives, and I was able to, put that belief system behind them, because I think we all need that, like, that cheer squad behind us, because there's a lot of negativity in this world. A lot of people try to bring you down, and now with social media being such a crazy, you got these keyboard warriors out there just trying to, like, negative juice you, and it's just, like, whack, because there could be praises on every comment, but there's that one negative comment that could really bring your day down, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yes.
But yeah, just that's the way that my energy has been over the past like 6-7 years, is trying to help. And I'm not saying every day is sunshine and rainbows, because it's not like that. There's days where I'm like, my energy is off, and I have to adjust to that. And some days I'm super hyped, some days, you know, I could be going through stuff mentally, but with that, you know, I have to show up and just suck it up and just be the best version I could be to these people, because I know that's what they pay for, that's what they want, that's why they keep coming back. And that's what drives me. They don't, you know, if you're having a crappy day, like, handle that yourself, don't bring it upon anyone else. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
That went to a bunch of different areas.
No, it's so beautiful. There's so many different ways to expand on that. And God, there's so many things I could say right now. But to bounce off of one of the last things you said about every single day, our energy is not totally crisp and feeling aligned. And I question if we're ever not aligned, even when we're in the darkness too, because we are cyclical beings, and there is intelligence within the darkness too. And with, again, what I was saying about how the way that we're able to navigate things are how we're able to help other people. One of my favorite quotes is from Rudolf Steiner. What is it? Wisdom is crystallized pain. That's where wisdom comes from, through the pain, the days that we're not feeling energetically sharp. And so I think that even when we're having off days, we can be inspiring. We can help remind others that it's okay to not be okay. We can hold people in their vulnerabilities more graciously. And that is an act of service too. Reminding people that it's okay to be human. Like, we're so much more than human, and our potential. I love that you brought up the human potential and being able to see others, because we're infinite beings. Like, there are no limits, and that's something that inspires me more than anything, is what is the potential that lies within us. My hero, spiritual teacher Marianne Williamson, always says that not even Mother Teresa, or I think she says like Gandhi or Buddha or any of these beings that we look at as enlightened beings or saints or whatever, they didn't even reach a fraction of their potential. So what does that say? Like, and that's why it's important to honor the days where we're feeling vulnerable and off, but then also, how long do we want to be there? How quickly do we want to come back? And I think that one time I had a yogi tea. I freaking love the quotes on yogi teas, but the quote was, "Your strength is your own belief." And I don't think that we trust our own strength. We are so much more powerful than we think we are.
For sure.
We have the whole entire power of the cosmos within us, for God's sake. Like, we can come back, I think, a lot more quickly than we think we can too, if we just trust and have faith in our own power and our own potential. And you know, potential too. I think what helps us remember our own potential is really wishing for other people to be happy. That's what I've found in my own journey, is the more I genuinely make the aspiration over and over again, how can I bring happiness to other people's life? How can I bring healing to others' life? And how can I truly wish for them to feel good? And not play, of course, my human ego is going to go to the lack game and to the comparison or whatever. But if I can consciously shift my direction and my energy to wish for their highest happiness, when I do that, I'm embodying who I really am in truth. Because who I am is this force of creation, of love, that only wishes for other people to be happy. The more I do that, the more I'm able to shift out of the negative emotions, because I'm remembering my true self.
That's awesome. To bounce off the idea where you said, or your comment about people, I think people hold themselves to they think a line is a line and they can never overcome that, or they think their life is supposed to be a certain way. And I think that us as humans hold ourselves back and from our true potentials, whether it's our upbringing, whether it's our mother, our father, whoever brought us up. if they told you something negatively, you won't be this, you won't do that, or you can't do that. I think in early years, like, parents have a huge part in our, or whoever brought us up have a huge impact on us as we grow older. Because as kids, we're sponges. We see our parents do something, we do something. We see them say something, and we want to say it. And I think if you came from an upbringing where it was a negative, or you weren't around a lot of positivity, I think that generally you as a person don't have that belief in yourself like you would if you were around a lot of positivity. Or you could go flip it on the other side, and you could use that negativity as a positive. I think that's where I came from as a kid, not wanting to be like someone in my family, like I'm gonna do better than this. I think as a kid it like blows my mind to even think that I have that like concept, but I saw things that like I don't want to treat someone like that, and then so that really motivated me to be like, I'm gonna be better than you. But I just want to be, but even saying that I want to be better than you, I just want to be better to other people. I want to be the best I can be to them. And if that makes, at the ego is like, I want to be better than you. That's the ego. Like, I want to be better than you. I just want to help and be the best I can be.
Better and more.
But to go all back, like, try not to set limits on yourself, because I've seen a ton of people that I've trained, that I've talked to, that have broken, that saw places that they can never achieve through themselves, but were able to achieve because someone believed in them. If you're holding yourself back for anything, don't. Try it. If you think, I can't do that, I wasn't meant for that, how do you know? You're just putting those boundaries on yourself. You're setting those negative, you're putting those like barriers in front of yourself. Like no one else is building them, you are. And like we are our biggest greatness, or we could be our biggest downfall. So choose to be the greatest that you could be, and look at limits as limitless, and don't stop, just keep pushing. I think that's so key.
And all of the
no, you go ahead.
All the limitations are just stories. Everything, like, life is just a story, and right now we are living in a story that looks like degradation to the environment and wildfires in Australia and Donald Trump as the president. But we can create a new story, and it all begins, again, one subtle shift at a time. It all starts with the stories that we are feeding. Or there's the parable of the wolf. Like, which wolf are you feeding? I forget the exact story. But yeah, we get to choose. Like, I believe that we're powerless over our intrinsic thoughts, because they're being passed down from family, or the whole family tree, society. But we're not powerless over how we choose to respond. We can say, I refuse to believe you. Hey, ego, I'm not going to like shoo you out of here and be rude, but you can sit in the back seat, and you're not driving this vehicle. Like, you were allowed to be in the back seat. I'll witness you back there from the rear view mirror, but like, no, you're not driving. And that's our power, is we get to choose how we want to respond to the limited stories, and then affirm another reality. And that's how we create a new world. That's how we create the life that we desire to live, is taking ownership of the way that we're responding to our minds. Yeah,
so the control that we have, I think a lot of people just dismiss, and they think society has a control over us. I mean, if you're around a lot of negative people, and that could be detrimental to your health, it could be detrimental to how you view the world. So if you're in a negative situation, you know it, try to get out, try to get into a positive place, because you'll see the world in a totally different light, and you'll see it, you could see yourself as a totally different person as well. Donald Trump being president shouldn't hold you back from your dreams, or, I mean, wars are crazy, and that's, I just wish there was peace on this world that we live in. We're not killing each other because it's stupid. Whether it's religion, whether it's our color of our skin that's dividing us, it's war. War is so like, idiotic and stupid to me. Like, we are here, we should be thriving one another, we should be pushing one another up, not hating on each other. But that's society, that's the government, whatever it is that's like brainwashing these people, or how you were brought up, how your parents, maybe they were racist or they didn't like a certain person, and then you were brought up in that. But you have that power to change all that, and you really have the power in yourself to get what you want out of life and own it.
Absolutely.
You have to own it. You can't be pointing the fingers your whole life just because everything around you is going crazy. You have the power to get out. You have the power to change how you view the world.
Yeah.
I think it's so key, and a lot of people like to blame, but that's just them not being, secure who they are, or they're just scared to take that step out from their comfort zone in that area where they've been for so long. Take that step. I think it's key.
Yeah. I think power is radical responsibility of how we're relating to our minds, and it's also very exciting knowing that we do have that power to create a new life for ourselves.
For
so
sure.
we just, like you said, have to embrace and own it. And kind of going full circle on something that you brought up too, with what we were talking about in the beginning of who we're surrounding ourselves with and the energies. I think one of the greatest ways to start to really believe in your potential and create these shifts and find a groundedness so that there can be more awareness with the mind is surrounding yourself with people that uplift you, that see you, that believe in your potential. I was a hardcore alcoholic and drug addict, and all I hung out with was people in the nightlife scene in Las Vegas, and just people that did not elevate or uplift me. And I decided to get sober and change my entire life in 2014.
Nice.
And someone saw me and they saw my potential, and that uplifted me. But when I decided to get sober, I had to change all my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Because anytime that I would talk to my old friends, I was like, who the hell am I to do this? Like, I changed my life. I was like, I went to Burning Man. After Burning Man, like, hell yeah, I'm changing everything. Yeah. And once I got home, I'm like, who am I to think I could, like, do all this work that I'm envisioning in the world? Like, who am I? But then once I started going to yoga and made friends in the yoga community and started surrounding myself in spiritual, uplifting community, people saw me. And because of that, I was able to believe more in myself. So I think that surrounding yourself in a community that really elevates and inspires you is so crucial in being able to really thrive in your life.
Exactly. Those are like, it's a solid foundation, and it's an elevating foundation versus a foundation where it's cracked. Yeah. And the chance to fall is much greater there into what, like, in a dark place, get mental health issues more, thrive on, like, just hating yourself, being in that position. There's a couple of people in my life that in my early, like, 20s I had to cut out because I didn't see worth in being in that situation or what they wanted to do. I was just like, that's not what I want. Like, I knew what I wanted, and finding those people to surround myself with and to unleash my potential was so key. And not going to bars at night, or because I don't like drinking, so I don't want to go out. I don't see myself with these people. That sounds bad. I just don't I never like fit in. Like, it's cool every once in a while, have a party on your birthday or whatever and surround yourself by people. But like, to be going out on the weekends, this is my mind how it works. And like, to bounce off that, to cut myself off, and those people that live for the weekends, this is another thing I preach. Like, if you are living for the weekends, you are living for the escape, because you do not like your current position and you want to get drunk, you want to escape. You are an escapism. Once you clock out of work on Friday, you are trying to find happiness that isn't there. And if you aren't happy with your job, or you aren't happy or in your current position, what I always plea is you have to either leave, and then you put yourself in a position where you have to find something. You're like, oh shit, I don't have money. Where's my income coming from? Then you're forced to.
Yeah.
Or you could take the small steps, tough out whatever job that you hate, and put yourself out there to find something that you love.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so key. And loving each day versus hating Monday through Friday.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that appreciation is a gateway to attract more of what we desire. Like I shared earlier too, and something that I think is really important is if we want to get to another place in our life, like there's nothing wrong with wanting to thrive and to attract more than maybe what you already have, but also appreciating what you do have, and then also bringing your gifts to what you have instead of hating your corporate job and wanting to become an inspirational teacher or an artist or whatever it is. Instead, bringing those gifts to your job, because you never know who you could impact. And my belief is our greatest joy in life is being able to help others. It's being able to uplift others. And so maybe you work this job that's not your favorite, but every single day you could go. This is the beauty of intention and consciousness. Everything starts to shift when we're living in a different state of consciousness. There's a quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer: when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And so if we approach things that are not our favorite, but instead, again, an example I'll bring forth, but when we change the way we look at them, the experience itself changes because our consciousness changes. So I was working a few years ago at this organic sandwich shop, and
awesome.
I was like, I don't really like working here. I want to be teaching yoga more, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, you know what? This organic shop is dope. The food is amazing, and if money didn't exist, there would have to be people here working here. And so I'm just going to go with this mindset of service. Like, I'm excited to be here, and I'm just going to spread joy to everyone that comes in here, and I'm going to use my coaching and yoga skills with the customers that come in. And I started having so much fun at work. And the experience completely changed. And I attracted, while I was working there, I didn't even look for this job at a treatment center. It just came to me, and it was like coaching people in recovery. And literally, it just came to me. Someone asked me, hey, you would be perfect with this. Do you want to work here? And I truly believe it's because I showed up in a different vibration that I attracted more of what I wanted. So I think that once we find a level of contentment and appreciation, like that's the test, that's the game of life. How much can we master our minds and enjoy what is and stop fighting with reality as it is and realize it's perfect. And then more of what you want just naturally comes.
Exactly. I was talking to someone today about they were going through, like, they weren't feeling like fulfillment, or they didn't think they had a purpose in life. Like, what's their purpose is to work and like to serve or whatever. And I've told them, like, if you like to help others, you know, if your current situation is like you can't, you know, have a kid at the moment, or to serve that, or just like try to reach out and help others, whether it's, you know, going to help kids that aren't adopted yet, or because you never know what's going to happen in that situation. You could like dip your toe in that, and your whole life could change like that. Just because someone saw you and your good intentions and your energies, like, you don't know where that's going to come from unless you try and put yourself out there. Or like help dogs or whatever. Like, if that makes you fulfilled, like, who cares what the society says? Like, if it makes you fulfilled, like you are helping others in that way, like, go for it. And then to bounce off another thing you said, with a job, like, if you are going into, if you don't like your situation, whatever you're in, and then that could be a positive as well, because then you could be like, then your mind starts racing, like, you really start going through your mind and the layers, and you start unpeeling, like, what's gonna make you happy. Like, if you're in your job you don't like, and then you're just stuck maybe by yourself, and like you're working alone, and then you really start unpeeling the layers, and you're like, I want to do that. Like, that's gonna make me happy. So that's a benefit for people. Like, that's what I went through. Like, I was the type of employee that busted my ass and saw these fellow employees that didn't push it but were getting all the praise, and I was just getting like, hey, good job, but they were just getting promoted, and I'm like, okay. So that's what really like versus like my coach believing in me in high school, and that was like the draw. Like in my head I was just like, I want to be my own boss. Like I want to be in control of myself, and I want to control everything. I know it's going to be a lot more craziness, I know there's going to be a lot more stress to it, but I'm going to be happiest there because I know I'm going to kick ass, and then I'm going to say, hey, good job, James. Versus, you know, these people that slack off and just get, you know, the praise from the bosses because they kiss butt. That was never my forte, kissing butt. You know, I did my job and left the best I could, and like, I got things done. So like you said, like bringing positive vibrations to work that, you know, maybe you're not really feeling, and the opportunities could come to you, like you attract that. Or just, you know, being in your head, being able to just be in your head and really unroot and say like, I think this is going to make me happy, and having the opportunity to do so, I think it's key.
Yeah.
So just like mind state, like where do you want to be? I think it's we have to really unleash that and unlock that, and
fuck yeah. And I
think it's so key.
Yeah, and something I'm so passionate about, I actually gave a talk about this last year, ordinary purpose. Like we all have an ordinary purpose, and we all have an individual unique purpose, but I strongly believe everyone's ordinary purpose is to be the light. It's to show up with love. It's to wish for others happiness. And that is what fulfillment is. That is what allows us to experience our wholeness and the wholeness of life. So no matter where we are in life, what we're doing, we all have a purpose, and that's to show up with love. It's as simple, and also not as simple as that, because the ego is freaking complex, but having that aspiration every single day.
Love is so key. Like just being loving to a person that maybe hasn't like seen that kind of love, or like felt that kind of energy behind the love. Is there should be more love in the world, and if you are able to impact someone, if you're able to give your energy and loving energy to someone that you know that needs it, or even a person that's, you know, in a positive place, like hell yeah, that's gonna feel good. So yeah. Find your happiness. I think it's if there something I always preach, if you're find your happiness, surround yourself by positive people. It's gonna attract people. That's freaking Mallory's here today, because I was watching her Instagram, like that's the person I could have a nice talk with, and just like, and me putting it out there, say, hey, you want to make a podcast, we could talk, we could, you know, share that vibration, be on that wavelength, and just vibe off one another. If you have that energy with somebody, and you get to have if you walk away with it with a positive and fulfillment, I think that's so key. And if you don't really have that fulfillment with someone in your life, if they're not uplifting, maybe seek something out. But learn from it. Negative places we learn so much from. Being in our darkest places, we learn so much from. We learn so much about ourselves. We learn so much about what we want from this world, and what we don't want. So
amen to that.
I'm gonna wrap this up. Mallory, it's been such a pleasure.
This has been so inspiring.
Heck yeah, it has.
So uplifted and ready to blast my light everywhere. And just one final thing that I would love to share. One of my teachers, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, he has a quote that the enlightened society already exists. It exists within each and every single encounter that you have within the day. Like every encounter you have, that's creating society. And so it's transformation, change. It's so subtle. It starts with that one thought. It starts with that one interaction, and then choosing again, because we're not always going to get it right. But
exactly.
I'm just really grateful to have had this conversation and to be so inspired to show up in the world in a bigger way today and always, but
amazing.
Focusing on this moment.
And before like we even started the podcast, we were just vibing and talking for about like 20 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, we should start podcasting and start talking because like this is good stuff. And I think hearing your story about in Nepal is like crazy. Like I can imagine myself in that situation, and that is something that's maybe one day I could be in that state of solitude and do that. And I commend you for doing that. That's freaking awesome. And like leaving stuff behind and going away for 4 months, and that's like
thank you.
And I think a lot of people need that like escape, and they need to like put themselves in an uncomfortable position, like, and just learn to root yourself and thrive from it.
Definitely.
And this, I think that probably that 4 months for you was like life changing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So life changing.
And this like 4 months. And then
snap of a finger, it's all just a memory now.
Exactly. So don't be afraid, to the audience. Don't be afraid to, disconnect from people that you think are not giving you joy or fulfillment or positive vibes or uplifting you. Don't be afraid to cut them off. Don't be afraid to be by yourself. Don't be afraid maybe just take a vacation by yourself somewhere and just like meditate. And just like find yourself, because I think we need that. Life's too short, and I think happiness should be our number one.
Absolutely. It's not selfish to engage in self-care. It's not selfish at all. My yoga teacher used to always say that do this practice for yourself, not for yourself but for the world. And a lot of people think, oh, I don't have time to do this practice or this or that. But it's not for yourself, it's for the world, so that we can all show up with open hearts and create a new society, one interaction at a time. So give yourself that gift.
Be a light. You never know what life you're going to change, or what great energies you're going to bring to your life, on how your mindset has shifted and how your energy is shifted for the better. Like you don't know. It's crazy, like who we could meet and how we could change our lives, or how you could change their lives forever. It's crazy.
I mean, what you were sharing about your coach and my one friend from Burning Man who saw me, seeing me too was what was the catalyst for me to change my life. So you never know whose life you could change every single day.
Exactly. And it takes time, like patience, like patience is huge. A lot of people want change like that, and I think we live in a society where it's so go, and like people just want change. I want to lose weight by tomorrow. Like no, enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. I think it's so key. Enjoy like seeing your body change, enjoying to see how you feel. Like my coach, I was 16, 17 maybe, and then like it took me 7 years to really say, like, and a bunch of experiences in between that to say, this is what I want. So 7 years to manifest that. So it takes time. I'm not saying it's gonna take 7 years for everybody, but just learn to enjoy the process and just enjoy the ride and like see where it takes you.
One day at a time, baby.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna cut it off here. We've been chatting for almost an hour. Awesome hour. All right, this has been my first podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you. Love, Rise. Anything from you, Mallory?
Thank you again for listening, and I hope that we were able to touch you in some way, in some aspect through this conversation, and allow it to ripple on and touch all the people that you encounter in this day and in your life.
Hell yeah. Maybe Mallory come back and we could just chat more. It's been a blessing. It's
been such an honor.
Hell yeah.
So grateful. Thank you, universe. Thank you for having me.
Yes, for sure. You guys stay rising. Just push to be the best that you could be every single day. Put that ego in the backseat, like Mallory said. Push happiness, push self-care, and just love yourself. Rest.
Love it. Peace out, homies.
Hell yeah.